Good afternoon, everybody. We are starting live at the waterhole here at Nguma. It's lovely to start the show today at Nguma, where we had a cheetah sighting yesterday afternoon. How epic was that? So my name is Kerry Dupree, and I will be joining you today here live at the waterhole. On our direct team, we have Gwyn today joining us as well. So just a reminder, folks, that this is a live and interactive experience. You can watch us on our app, and if you're watching on the website, you can go and register. Don't forget to ask those questions, send through your comments, join in the afternoon's chitter chatter. And if you're joining us on X or Twitter, don't forget to use the hashtag @WildEarth. What a lovely Tuesday. I hope everyone is having a terrific Tuesday so far. Our little warthog friend decided he wasn't going to hang around today, which I don't blame him if there's a cheetah in the area. So that was my first cheetah sighting on live at the waterhole and here at Nguma. It's been pretty good location on Nguma. I've seen lions before in Nguma and cheetah too, so very exciting to have that cheetah yesterday afternoon. I had a feeling it looked like it was walking directly to the main lodge. I thought it was going to hop onto the deck and chill out on one of the couches. It was heading straight towards the lodge and then did a bit of a U-turn. We did lose sight of it, but it was still a pretty epic sighting of that cheetah yesterday afternoon. So big thank you to our Zoomy here at Nguma and for the rest of our team for helping us get that amazing sighting of a cheetah. So we'll keep our eyes open, keep our eyes peeled. We'd love to see how many predators we can get this week. On live at the waterhole, I'll be with you most of the week, I think until Thursday. I'm scheduled in to be with you live at the waterhole. So let's see how many predators we can find. What little birdie do we have here? I'm just getting the focus in there. Let's have a look, see. So apparently you can now send your questions and comments also through on WhatsApp, which is pretty amazing. So if you want to send those questions and comments through, WhatsApp is also available for you to send through your questions and comments. You can use the WhatsApp line on screen below. And we have a very interesting bird here. I'm just going to give a quick search. It looks like a pratten coal of some sort. Namibia with these dry remote areas. I'm guessing this is a pratten coal of some sort. I'm just having a look which pratten coal occurs in Namibia. And I'm coming up with a rock pratten coal. What an epic sighting. First for me here in Namibia. I have seen rock pratten coals before on the Zambezi River. They make their nests, so they are ground nesting bird, and they are very well known for having their colonies of nests on the ground, even in rocky outcrop areas. So this would be a perfect area for them to nest. They do have quite an elaborate courtship flight display. They do have their wings held high over their backs and necks, and their feathers are flared in order to emphasize that collar that the male presents to the female. They are monogamous and do keep one mate for life. So the breeding pairs do withdraw from the flock during the breeding season, whereby the males become very territorial and their nests nest solely in colonies, and they'll be quite territorial during this time. The female can lay anything between 1 to 2 eggs depending on the rock surface. The place I've seen the nests was again just on a little rocky island in the Zambezi River. Little rock pratten coals, they don't make any sort of sticks or anything. They literally just lay their eggs straight on the rocks there, very well camouflaged. So both of these parents of these rock pratten coals, they do incubate the eggs. They will frequent the nest quite often throughout the day. The chicks are born and again are completely camouflaged and blend in very well to the rocks. They're brownish feathers with little white spots. And that helps them blend in well to the rocks and protect them from any predators. What a cool bird to start our day. This is quite an unusual one, so I'm not sure if anyone has seen this little rock pratten coal before, but it'll definitely be quite a cool bird lifer. Mercedes Ben and Lori Good, thank you for joining us today. Yeah, great to hear that this is a first for you, Lorianne. Yeah, rock pattern coal, definitely a really cool lifer. I think my first time seeing a rock pattern coal was probably about 12 years old. Was not into birding at all, but my dad is quite a avid birder. And yeah, we were watching them for quite a few hours while they were on the nest. They still had their eggs, so it was quite entertaining watching the male and female in this little courtship display in some areas, and also watching them incubating those little eggs of theirs that you would, if you didn't know they were there, you would probably squash them without knowing that there's little eggs very well camouflaged into the ground. This little pattern coal seems to be very comfortable. It looks like a very windy day over in Ngoma. Lots of wind, not much rain. The rainy season has probably left us, no longer having any rain in Namibia. It's a very short rainy season in Namibia. Some areas experience less than 300 mils of rain in the whole season. Isn't that crazy? Very short rainy season and not much rain that falls within this area. So yeah, some areas between 300 to 500 mils of rain, which is about 13 to 19 inches depending on the area in Namibia, which is nothing. It's ridiculous. I've experienced in the Congo and West Africa, I've experienced 350 mils in 24 hours. So we're getting some info from Bundu, our Zoomy from Africa, and he's saying it's the first time this little rock pattern coal has been spotted in this area on this branch. Apparently it is out of range, which is quite unusual. I was checking in my bird app here to see the normal range of this rock pattern coal, so it could be a bit of an out of range, especially for this time of year. Isn't this cool? What a cool little bird sighting. What has happened to you, little guy? Why are you so far from home? So let's have a look, see what is your normal range and distribution. So this rock pattern coal does occur throughout parts of Zimbabwe, and yeah, not seeing much of a migratory path, but does occur not in southern Africa. So you wouldn't see this bird in South Africa. So it kind of occurs in a belt through Zimbabwe. It does occur up into Namibia, even parts of Congo, West Africa, kind of into the desert. So very rocky, dry regions. It does occur here. And again, movements and different patterns of birds occurring in different areas can happen, maybe because of distribution of food or mating. But yeah, normally they're in pairs or flocks. So again, quite unusual to see this little rock pattern coal all by himself here. He could be moving through maybe new feeding grounds, new feeding areas, or again, as we mentioned, maybe he's gotten a little bit lost on his journey. But still a very cool sighting. Yeah, so this bird even occurs all the way up to Cameroon, Chad, Ethiopia, Angola, parts of Namibia. But again, I'm just trying to read some literature here. So it's northeastern parts of Namibia. So that's why he could have got a little bit lost along his journey. In Zambia as well as Mozambique. So mostly habitat is embankments, rivers, lakes, and local watering holes. So maybe because of this little water hole we have here in Ngoma, that might have attracted him to the area. But yeah, I'm used to seeing these rock pattern coals associated with rivers, lakes, or very rocky regions. So there are intra-African migrants, these little pattern coals, and they do occur on the periphery along most coastal regions in southern Africa, but yeah, not inland. So if you see one inland like this, it is quite peculiar. Hey, little guy. Really good spotting there, Bundu. Yeah, you wouldn't notice this little bird if you didn't know he was sitting there. So they do feed, they are a diurnal feeder. They do feed during overcast weather. They can be seen perched on hippopotamus, on hippos. So on hippopotamus's back while feeding or scavenging for insects, beetles, grasshoppers and cicadas. We've got some impala also at the watering hole today here in Nguma over in Etosha. Yesterday, that's what alerted us to this cheetah being in the area, was the alarm calls of some impala and some springbok is what we first noticed, that there was a predator in the area. I thought it could have been lions. So in this area you do get lions, leopard and cheetah, the three main big predators in this area. So I thought it might be some lions that have come down to the watering hole, but yeah, it was a very mobile cheetah on a mission up to something. So yeah, nice bachelor herd of impala. Definitely been some substantial rain here in Nguma since last year, September, November. It was looking very dry and barren across this region. So Nguma over in Etosha is home to over 30 different mammal species. We've mentioned the predators, and of course they do have black rhino, an array of antelope and giraffe. They also have a very impressive over 300 bird species that have also been recorded within this region. So birding is great within this area. So Catherine, very excited. You've got a new bird to add to your birding list, bringing your list to 406 species, which is very exciting. Yeah, that rock pratten call definitely is a really cool bird to see. And half the time, they're actually there, but they're overlooked. Just like a lot of little LBJs out there in the world. There are lots of bird life that we might not notice, just like the little small bugs and creepy crawly insects. Oh, these two impala males giving each other a bit of a grooming session. Nice Tuesday afternoon grooming. So this is a behavior known as allo grooming. So it can happen from a mother to her calf or ewe, and between males. It's a very good form of social bonding amongst these individuals. Such a diverse ecosystem here in Nguma. So they do have, of course, the very dry and remote salt pans. They have these open savanna areas, as well as these very unusual and very characteristic Namibian woodlands. So quite special a part of this ecosystem. So the salt pans are some of the largest salt pans in Africa. When you look over those salt pans, you can almost see a mirage. It's so hot and dense, and just as far as the eye can see, just open. It's quite good condition, these males, these male impala. Look like they have had a very good green season. They've surely eaten well. They had some zebra yesterday that also looked like they were in quite good condition. Very round, very fat, very tubby. Alrighty, why don't we go and check out one of our other locations and see what's happening over in Founders. So welcome to Founders Lodge here in the Eastern Cape. Have a look at this very well-rounded blesbok. He looks like he's in great condition, great shape. It would be lovely to see some rhinos here in Founders. And speaking of rhinos, looks like they had Andrew over in Amakhala. Andrew and Morgan had some really cool rhino sightings this morning with a black-backed jackal. Those great photos, really nice contrast between the very dry grey grass over in Amakhala at the moment, those grey rhinos, and then very lovely contrasting colour of that black-backed jackal that looked like it was scavenging on something. It must have made for some quite cool safaris this morning. And I'm just having a look at Sandringham. It looks like they had a sighting of Kachava this morning, the Queen of Chitwa. So well done to Cedric and Panda for finding Kachava. She looked like she was very comfortable up in a tree. So if you're watching the morning sunrise safari, looks like it was quite an entertaining sunrise safari, I must say. And this blessbok looks pretty relaxed. It's obviously the Eastern Cape. The conditions are a little bit different to other parts of Africa. They're a little bit drier than the rest of our regions that have just experienced a lot of rainfall. And this blessbok is probably a solitary male on his own, just coming down for a drink. Looks like he has got very distended preorbital glands. If you have a look on his face, just below his tear duct there's these very big glands, and these are what the males use to mark their territory. Looking very dry here in the Eastern Cape. Oop, looks like our got our main mud puddling wallowing station just here. Lots of little baby blessbok around. Check out these little guys. They're probably going on about 2 to 3 months old now. So the blessbok, aren't they cute? So it looks like this little pan has turned into quite the mud wallow. Looks like there's been lots of activity here, lots of wallowing, and these little blessbok are looking at this water very begrudgingly, like, do we have to drink that? You can see these two individuals were probably born quite a few weeks, maybe a month or so apart. So this little one on the left is definitely a bit older. Maybe he was born around December. And this little blessbok on our right is probably what is known in Afrikaans as a lommetjie, a little late bloomer. Maybe he was only born, maybe I'd say end of January, beginning of February. And looking very fluffy. So a fully grown blessbok, when these little guys grow up, can weigh anything between about 60 to 80 kilograms. Another prey species that cheetah prefer to hunt. Nice kind of medium-sized antelope. Perfect for a cheetah meal. They're so cute, and they seem a bit skeptical, which is very good, because in some places with the crocodiles, a crocodile would love to take a little baby blessbok as well. So these blessbok do feed on quite a variety of grasses, especially in the winter when it's dry and there's not much food around. They can feed on a local dominant species within the area, so they have quite a varied diet, and they can feed on a lot of different types of grass, which is maybe an adaptation that they have to dealing with the dry seasons. Shame, I wonder why these guys are so nervous. So Mindy, these little things are absolutely gorgeous. How cute are they? You can see this older individual starting to get his adult coloration, starting to lose his fluffy coat, but yeah, still has a little bit of growing to do. And as with most species, the males take longer to sexually mature than the females. So females normally sexually mature at about 1.5 to 2 years of age, whereas the males take a bit longer, at about 4 to 5 years of age. The little male blessboks will sexually mature. Alrighty, why don't we go and check out what's happening over in Aldonio. Whoa! So Welcome to Oldonyo, Kenya, everyone. We have got a tower of giraffe that have decided to come and join us this afternoon. Shucks, there's just giraffe legs everywhere. Let's count and see how many giraffe we have here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7. At least 7 giraffe all coming down for a drink. Maybe there's a giraffe conference of some sort. They all got the WhatsApp memo that they need to be here. Looks like lots of males. They all look like they've got quite large and bald ossicones, so looks like we've got quite a few males here. They all come down for the afternoon. Looks like a nice overcast afternoon. What have we got here? There's something on the left. Oh, another giraffe. Oh my goodness, there's just giraffes popping out all over the show. That's a lovely scene. Good afternoon, Wild at Heart. Thank you for joining us today here live at the waterhole. Lovely to have you with us. And yeah, I hope you're enjoying this incredible scenery of these giraffes. Looks like there might be a bit of a dominance display between these males. So in a lot of species you get a way for one male to prove that he is stronger and more dominant than another male is by mounting. Yes, it can be a form of dominance between bulls. So I know there's been a lion, so there's a lioness here that gave birth to some cubs last week. So every time we come to Oldonyo, I'm always praying that maybe we might get some lion here on this location. That would be pretty cool. I haven't seen lions in Oldonyo yet, so that would be quite awesome. But yeah, the other kind of key predators in this area besides lion would still be your cheetah, leopard, and it's very well known for hyena and jackal. I've often seen jackal roaming around in this area on this camera. And giraffe are just having a nice chilled Tuesday afternoon. This area, Oldonyo, is a prime destination for wildlife enthusiasts, not just for predators, but very well known for their elephants, as well as being home to some of the magnificent large tuskers, including 1 ton. We saw him last week, so I always hope that he'll pop in for a quick visit. He doesn't seem to like being live, though, I must say. Whenever we do see him, he seems very skeptical to hang around. This giraffe looks like he's very intently gazing off. What is he looking at? So we were talking about communication in animals yesterday, and how giraffe sometimes have this very blank stare off into nowhere, and you always wonder, what could they be thinking? Are they communicating with other giraffe in the area and we just can't hear, or are they really just gazing off into the distance with not much happening? Kind of gazing off into the distance there. I wonder if they're looking at a predator, or are they just looking at a long lost friend that they haven't seen for some time. Another big male coming for the gathering here. So we've got a question from Lucy Kogide, and she's asking about what the life expectancy of a giraffe is. So in the wild, giraffe can live anything between 20 to 25 years, depending on predation, environmental factors. These are the factors that could shorten their lives in the wild. But in captivity, they can actually live a lot older, maybe about 28 to 30 years, if they receive the necessary care and protection. But what happens a lot in giraffe, obviously you can see how tall they are, they do get arthritis quite a lot, and joint problems in their legs. So that can hinder their ability to move, and cause quite a bit of an issue for them getting around. Hello, gentlemen. What are you both looking at? Adrian from the UK, thank you so much for watching today, and I believe you are new to the show, and I'm glad that you are enjoying yourself and learning. It's always great to have new viewers, and yeah, please feel to send through any questions and comments, Adrian. I'm really enjoying watching these two male giraffes chomping away. They've got those long tongues, long blue tongues, which are very rubbery and hard consistency. It's incredible how they're able to wrap their tongues around acacia branches and rip off those leaves. And those nasty acacia thorns, I've had a few in my feet before, and they can cause quite a nasty infection. But these giraffe, with ease, pull those leaves off, not a problem. It's incredible how these giraffe are specially adapted to be very tall creatures. That's enabling them to feed on the leaves of the very tall acacia trees. So Lenny is sending through some information about the lions here in Nguma, and apparently there were 2 male lions as well as 2 lionesses with 3 cubs that used to stop by at this pan at night or do a lot of roaring in the area. And yeah, that's some dedication, Lenny. Well done for watching these live at the waterhole, watching the live feeds. Yeah, it's amazing the behavior you pick up and the interactions you pick up, especially at night. That's why I do love camera traps, trail cams, pick up a lot of very interesting information and behavior between animals, all those nocturnal species coming out. It's absolutely incredible to be able to witness this, but most people are sleeping at the time these nocturnal creatures are all out and about. I wonder if we're going to get any elephants coming down to the watering hole today. There's lots of giraffes. Seems to be a massive giraffe congregation here. So as we were talking about the giraffe and their legs and arthritis and how they're prone to getting swollen joints, have a look at these giraffe legs here. You can see their ankles just below their hooves there. The older these giraffe specimens get, sometimes they struggle with their bones and their joints, and that's why giraffe do practice a behavior known as osteophagia, which is the chewing and eating of bones. BK and I were filming a giraffe in Mabula chewing on a bone. So if you ever see a giraffe standing very suspiciously just munching away, keep a lookout, use your binoculars and have a closer look to see what they're feeding on. Could be a bone that they're busy chewing on. There's a female giraffe that's just pulled into this little bro party. This is all male giraffe. So it's lovely to see one female arriving. I'm sure these males are very delighted too. So I think it's been finally concluded that there are 4 distinct species of giraffe. I know there's been a lot of back and forth over the last 10 years about, is it 4 species, is it 9 species? I think at one stage they were suspecting there could be 9 different species of giraffe, and then I think they came down to 7, and now I think they've final conclusion that there is 4 different species of giraffes. You get the Maasai giraffe, you get the northern giraffe, which includes subspecies found in Central and West Africa. Maasai giraffes obviously in Kenya and Tanzania. You get the reticulated giraffe, which is also native to Kenya, and the southern giraffe. The southern giraffe, they're found in southern Africa as well as Angola. So previously giraffe were considered a single species with multiple subspecies, but recent research does support them to have distinct species. So amazing what science and research does, all this time and dedication that researchers put in to study these individuals, to find out different species, different subspecies, their behavior, their anatomy. All very interesting part of research. And of course, the giraffe, seeing as it's a lovely grooming afternoon, seems to be all the creatures are out and about grooming. We've got some red-billed oxpeckers here, busy grooming away at this giraffe. They can be very useful removing parasites and ticks, but they can also be a little bit of a nuisance when it comes to open wounds and injuries. They can be a little bit of a pest. He's got his little tail flared out there. Very character-filled birds, these little oxpeckers. Oh, there's some in the armpit. You can actually see the ticks here. Isn't that cool? So close to this male giraffe. You can see all of the ticks that have accumulated and collected on his belly and in his armpit. So this time of year, with all this thick green grass, it is very beneficial for all the animals, but also can be quite a bit of a nuisance with all the ticks that they accumulate and gather in all their little crevices between their legs and between their hips and thighs. Can be a little bit of an issue. But luckily they have their oxpecker friends to come and help clean up. So we've got a comment from Dave from Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. Greetings, Dave from Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. Bulawayo is a very special place to me. I've got a lot of family still there, so I hope you're doing well today, Dave. And yes, so Eldonio, this watering hole here is fed by a borehole. It does supply water. So otherwise, if it was a natural watering hole, I think that it would have dried up, in the dry season. Most likely be very dry, but you can see there's an outlet here which provides these animals with water, and in private reserves where there's probably a limited supply of water, is very beneficial for these animals to have some form of water provided for them, especially if they're in a fenced environment. So these giraffe can generally drink between 10 to 20 liters of water in a 24-hour period, which is crazy. I think I struggle to drink in the dry season. If it's very hot, like around 40 degrees, I think I can drink up to 4, maybe 5 liters maximum. But can you imagine a giraffe drinking up to 20 liters of water a day? Or if you're working in gallons, that's about 2 to 5 gallons a day. So they don't need to drink on a daily basis. But they do get a lot of moisture from the food that they feed in. But if they do have a preference of drinking, that's how much water they would prefer to drink daily. Oop, this giraffe better be careful. I don't know if his left leg is too well secured there. They have to be so careful, these giraffe. They can injure themselves or break limbs if they are not careful while going down for a drink. So these giraffe do like to feed early in the morning. So what giraffe will do in areas where there's limited water or no water, they will go out and start feeding very early in the morning, and they get some dew that might still be remaining on all the leaves, and that can help to hydrate them throughout the day if they have to travel long distances without water. So they'll feed quicker, hoping to get moisture off of their food. Alrighty folks, why don't we check out one of our other locations and head across to Elephant Pan over in Botswana and see what's come to the watering hole there. So we have some more elephants that have come down to the watering hole today. Just before we started the show, there was quite a few elephants that were enjoying a bit of a splish and a splash in the water. So this is Elephant Pan, or previously known as Hyena Pan. I still get the name, forget about the name sometimes. But yeah, lots of elephants come down to this watering hole to drink. It's amazing to see so much water. Last time I was there, the water level was very low. Lots of elephants coming down, lots of greenery. The mapani trees are all looking very happy. I'm sure in the background you can hear those cicadas, maybe a few cicadas still buzzing away in the background. Looks like a nice, cool, windy afternoon, and I'm sure most of the guests at Elephant Pan or Hyena Pan Lodge are probably having their afternoon nap, just resting up before the next safari or next adventure begins. So yesterday we had a lot of big elephant bulls coming through. The breeding herds kind of would come in and drink and leave after a short period. But the big elephant bulls, they were all hanging around, staying, enjoying the water, enjoying having a swim. There was one elephant bull that was completely on his side, legs up in the air, and I think he was just really enjoying not being on his feet. I mean, imagine some of these big elephant bulls are weighing 6 to 8 tons, 10 tons in massive bulls. It's a lot of weight to be carrying around on your feet. So I think these big elephant bulls really enjoy cooling off, resting their feet and just floating around in the water. So we were speaking about annual rainfalls in different regions. We were speaking about how in Namibia and Nguma, some areas only receive 350 to maybe 400 mils of rain. When I went to Namibia last year, I know some areas by Ukukuyu, they said they only received less than 250 mils of rain in the whole year, which is very low. But I'm sure this year we've had some great rainfall, some really late rainfalls in some regions, but late rain is better than no rain. So here in Hyena Pan, the average rainfall per year is about 400 to 600 mils of rain, or 15 to 24 inches per year. So the rain is often in the form of afternoon thunderstorms, which really help to rejuvenate the vegetation and fill up these watering holes. And I must say that smell of the water, rain falling on the African bush, on the dry sand, the dry soil, this must be one of my favorite smells. I believe there is a fragrance or a perfume, it's rather expensive, but there's a fragrance that you can buy that is the smell of the first rains. What a lovely perfume that would be to wear. So Adrian is asking a question about how often do vets interfere with animal care. So Adrian, I think it would probably all depend on the area. Some very small private reserves, for example in South Africa, might have a vet on team or on call for any incidences. I know especially with your disease-free buffalo, they get tested quite a lot, and any injuries they might be attended to. So again, depending on the size of the reserve, is it a private reserve? Are the animals one of your hot commodities or highly priced individuals? That might determine if vets will intervene. But on big reserves that might be government reserves or not privately owned, most of the time a lot of these incidences, kind of nature will take its course. Once you start intervening with specific things, it can become a bit of a problem, especially like with those giraffe, with their joint pains. If you give them some medication and something happens and they die in the natural environment, their carcass will be eaten by something. Yeah, just want to always keep things as natural as possible and not intervene with nature. But yeah, if it is a man-made injury, say for example a snare, bullet wounds or something like that, then in a lot of cases vets can intervene. But as long as it's a natural incident, in most cases it's best to just let nature take its course. And we have a little family of elephants that have come down. So it seems like we had 2 elephant bulls who are having a bit of a swim, and now this poor little family of elephants looked very thirsty as they scuttled down to the water to have a drink. So Dark Mane Lover, I do love a good elephant pool party. And I must say those elephant bulls, they might be quite, you have to take them very seriously, elephant bulls, when they're on land, and they very much demand respect, and they're very, what's the word? Yeah, they're very elegant in the way, or very proud in the way they move and the way they walk. But the minute those elephant bulls get into that water, it's like they turn into children again and they just start playing with one another. So I do love watching elephant bulls playing in the water. It's a very quite quite an entertaining thing to watch. So yeah, very lovely to see these elephant bulls just playing with themselves in the water, and the little babies as well. So elephant cows, I don't see them swimming as much as little baby elephants, and of course your bigger elephant bulls. So Victoria Pont is asking about why the name change of elephant pan from hyena pan. Victoria, I'm actually not too sure, but I do know some people that work for Natural Selection, so the kind of management company of these camps. So I'll definitely give an ask for you. I did like the hyena pan name because there's a lot of hyena dens within this area, and I think the home ranges and habitats kind of always include this camp and this watering hole. So it means there's a lot of hyena activity around here, so we'll always keep our lookout for hyenas. But I'm actually not sure on why they changed the name, but I'll definitely find out for you and let you know. So Picasso is asking a pretty cool question about hooves, ungulate's hooves. So it is very incredible how the ungulate's hooves grow and wear down at a ratio of 1:1. And Picasso is asking, are there any animals with overgrown hooves? Oh, sorry, Picasso, but that is a very impressive elephant bull there. Hello, big boy. Thank you for joining us today. So to answer your question, Picasso, yes, I have seen buffalo with deformed hooves. And from time to time, your cloven hoof antelope, like I've seen kudu and blesbok, sometimes they get an injury or an impaled piece of stick inside their hoof, and that can cause a bit of an irritation. But it's incredible how resilient nature is, and most of the time they end up healing themselves. But yeah, buffalo can be a bit of an issue with their hooves. I've seen them with very long hooves that are kind of, shame. They look like they're walking on very strange stilettos, or their hooves actually crisscross in some cases. In cases like that, I do know of times when vets have intervened. I actually know a disease-free buffalo in the Midlands, in the Drakensberg area. Her name is Jade, and that buffalo saw the vet, and very often. So I think she saw a vet more often than I went to the doctor, and she got her nails done more than I've ever had my nails done. Yeah, she had a full pedicure done at least twice a year. I don't know, she had some sort of a disease where she had a very excessive amount of calcium in her body, and her hooves grew at a very alarmingly fast rate, and if they didn't file her hooves down, she really struggled to walk. So I was amazed at how often the vet would come and check up on her. She was a prime breeding female, and very valuable asset to the reserve. Those disease-free buffalo are very valuable individuals. It's very difficult to get buffalo that have not come into contact with cattle and wild buffalo. So she was a very precious buffalo. So she had her nails done quite regularly, I must say. But generally, I haven't seen too many hoof issues in cloven hoof animals, besides in buffalo, maybe your kudu from time to time. Zebra, same as horses, can get impaled splinters in their feet, but otherwise nothing too terrible. Alright, why don't we head back over to Old Donia and see what else has come down to the watering hole. Look what we have here, folks. We've got some warthogs having a nice little mud bath. Why don't we have a bit of a quiet moment to watch these warthogs entertain us, shall we? Oh, isn't this just adorable watching these little warthogs? It's a very important part of their social bonding. So obviously creatures and animals like warthog, buffalo, rhino love to wallow in the mud, and for all of these species it can be a form of cooling themselves down on a hot day in the African bush. Something gave them a bit of a fright. It can also be a form of sunblock or sun protection in these species. The dried mud acts as a natural protection layer from the sun. It can also be to help remove parasites. So this mud helps suffocate and remove external parasites like ticks and lice. But this can also be a form of social behavior. So warthogs often wallow in groups, and this does help to strengthen the social bonds. So just like humans, I feel like humans bond a lot better when everyone just, I don't know, lets go of your boundaries and insecurities and just has a great time. I think humans should go for social bonding mud wallow sessions. I think definitely a great way to make friends. After these warthogs have had a good wallow, they'll head across to a stump or a tree or a rock that's close by, termite mound, and have a good rub to help rub off all those parasites. Sometimes warthogs will also use abandoned aardvark burrows as a resting spot and can make very good mud wallow spots as well. And despite the tough appearance of the skin of these warthogs do have quite sensitive skin, making the mud an essential part of their daily routine. I'm not sure I will be adapting this mud wallowing as part of my daily routine, but if there was a human mud wallow somewhere, I think I'd probably join in on that. Although you do get jamboree and things like that where people go and drive their ridiculously kitted out bush vehicles and Land Rovers, Land Cruisers, buggies through the mud. That's pretty fun, I must say. Great social bonding in humans as well. Gina Biddle, I do love watching these warthogs wallow as well. They're so character filled. They've just got so much character, so much life. Little spontaneous creatures, warthogs. They're quite oblivious to the world around them sometimes, though. When they're in their feeding and mud wallowing position, it's no wonder they get eaten by predators, because they're so distracted by what they're doing. Same as when warthogs or hogs feed. They get so distracted by what they're doing that they don't realize what's happening around them. Just having such a great time. So Ralph K is asking about if warthogs can hold a large, can a large warthog male, a hog, stand up against an African cat? So Ralph, yeah, I would say I've seen I've seen warthogs standing up against wild dogs in Mabula. Actually, it was crazy. These wild dogs had a few days which was pretty unlucky. They they were trying to hunt some wildebeest, and the wildebeest came out into this open area, and there was lots of rhinos around, some white rhino around, and some warthogs. And the wildebeest turned around and started chasing the wild dogs. And then next thing, so did the warthogs. So the wild dogs struggled to get any of the wildebeest to be afraid of them, and then the next thing tried to go for these warthogs, and the warthogs turned around and started chasing the wild dogs. So quite unusual. I've watched lots of documentaries, Ralph, with these warthogs also standing their ground against leopards, so young leopards maybe trying to get an easy kill or easy prey. They'll often hang out at the burrow of these warthogs, wait to pounce and leap on the warthogs, and shucks, those big male warthogs can be quite aggressive. You don't want to get stabbed in the neck or in the thigh by the tusks. These are some females that are wallowing around here, but I definitely would not want to mess with a male warthog. Can be quite aggressive. Even these females, when they have their little ones, can be quite aggressive for trying to protect their little babies. She is having a great wallow, isn't she, girl? So Dark Main Lover is asking if I have seen any bush pigs on any. So speaking about how easily these warthogs, again, one does have to argue whether you think it's difficult for a predator to catch a warthog, because when warthogs are aware and are alert, it is quite difficult for a predator to hunt them. They're very fast. Even these little ones, goodness, they zoom all over the place, really fast. Difficult to catch up with them. But when they're feeding, as we mentioned earlier, when they're feeding or when they're wallowing, they make a lot of noise, and I feel like it really interferes with their hearing. So they're kind of like some humans that are not able to multitask. So they either feed or wallow. It's difficult for them to hear any predators around, and that's when there's a perfect opportunity for a predator like a cheetah, leopard, or a lion to sneak up on these warthogs for a kill. Shame, my last lion sighting at Mabula, they killed this little baby warthog. Well, I think it was actually a sub-adult female warthog. So we were sitting watching the lions on the side of the road, and I saw a female warthog walking down the fence line behind us, and about 15-20 minutes later, I think our patience of just waiting around paid off, and next thing there was all these lions stood up, started taking off, and there was a squealing sound. So we all turned around, followed, try and see where these lions have gone, what's happening. And shame, unfortunately, they'd managed to capture this little baby or sub-adult female warthog. Oh, looks like we've got a male warthog that's also joined us today. Come on, lions. I'm praying for these lions to come out. That would be really cool. See those lions. Maybe have a warthog kill on screen too today would be pretty awesome. Talking about bush pigs, we had really cool sightings of bush pigs. I think my best bush pig sightings have also been at Mabula. Red river hogs are my favorite pig species, though. Over in West Africa, you get these incredible red river hogs, giant forest hogs. So give them a bit of a Google. Red river hogs are very almost pixie pig looking, if I can describe them. And they're red in color, and they've got lots of white on their bodies. They've got a white dorsal crest down their back. They've got lots of white on their face. Lining their ears is white as well. So very cute little pigs. They probably weigh between, again, 40 to 60 kilos. Giant forest hog. So again, the giant forest hog is almost equivalent to Southern Africa's bush pig. And those massive pigs in West Africa. The giant forest hog is very much prized for hunters. A lot of hunters love to go and hunt those big pigs, unfortunately. But I actually got charged and bitten by a little red river hog once upon a time. We were on a guide training walking safari in West Africa, and there was this injured pig that we had seen on our walk, and obviously he maybe thought we were following him after he was disturbed, and this hog came up and charged straight towards us and tried to take a bite out of my leg. Thank goodness I had my Apple iPhone in my pocket, which protected my leg from this pig. But it was a pretty crazy day. And of course he decided to go for the only vegan in the group. So I got a lot of flack for that for weeks. It was rather entertaining. But no one was hurt, no one was injured. This pig was just really grumpy, having a really bad day. Unlike these pigs, they look really happy, really healthy. These pigs here in Nguma look like they're in great condition. This male warthog on the left, he's got quite small tusks. Could still get bigger tusks, I guess. Maybe he's still a young male. So many giraffe all over the place. It's just, what a lovely scene. Alrighty folks, let's head over to Wangi Safari Lodge in Zimbabwe and see what birds are waiting for us there. Whoa, so welcome to Wangi Safari Lodge here in Zimbabwe, everyone. This is one of our new feeds from the Africam cameras. Really exciting to be able to have this location here, and this is a perfect time of the year to have some incredible birding here in Wangi Safari Lodge, Zimbabwe, or in the Wangi area. So I know the green seasons can be a little bit slow when it comes to game viewing, but if you want the most incredible bird life experience that you've ever had, I would 100% recommend coming through to Wangi National Park during the rainy season. You get flocks of these grey crowned cranes. You've got some marabou storks here, and every other bird you can imagine comes through. So we get migratory birds, you get a lot of kestrels, a lot of hobbies coming through, feeding on all the elates that are flying up in the skies. You get the kites, loads of kites coming through. Then in all the watery, puddle, marshy areas, you get these cranes. You also get the teals, lots of pygmy geese and pears littered all over the place. So yeah, it really, we also get the abdom storks, woolly neck storks, yellow storks. So it is an absolute birder's paradise, this area, during the rainy season, and also a place very close to my heart. So it's my second home, I would say, in Zimbabwe. So I'm originally kind of lived more in Victoria Falls, but over the last 5 years I've spent more time guiding and working here in Wangi National Park. So a very special place to my heart, and this is an area that I've done a lot of horseback safaris, and I'll actually be heading to this area in just over a week from now. This is where I'll be guiding and enjoying these incredible birds. Check out these cranes. Just having a look around to see if we can see any more birds. There's some crocodiles. There's, I think, at least 2 big crocodiles and 1 or 2 smaller crocodiles that hang out in this watering hole here. Lots of buffalo herds that come through, and of course this is very popular. We've got a little bit of a warthog fight going on here in Aldania, so I thought we'd come and check that out, see what's happening with these 2 young warthogs. Looks like 2 young warthog males that were in a bit of a spat. So we actually had a question yesterday. Gwen was reminding me about warthogs and if warthogs ever fight with each other. So I hope you're watching today. So we can't remember the viewer who asked, but don't see warthogs fighting very often, but the males do have little duels and challenges from time to time, especially the youngsters. They're so full of energy, lots of energy to use and get rid of. So great to see the little warthogs fighting. And looks like we've got a few more female giraffe and a little young giraffe coming through too. That looks very timid and shy. It's like it's his first time to this watering hole, maybe. First time around so many other big giraffe. How cute, this youngster. He's not too young. I'm probably guessing he's maybe over 5 or 6 months old already. We saw some really small baby giraffe last month in Mabula. One looked like it was probably less than a few weeks old. But and the female was actually stashing it. It was one of the last drives I had with BK. I think Nadine was directing with us that day, and we were having good luck with the giraffe, and then all of a sudden we just looked there was something moving on the bush to the right. We were watching a female just feeding, and all of a sudden to the right, just behind a bush close to the car, there was a little baby giraffe that had been stashed with us. Isn't that cute? So cute. We didn't get to see it properly. It was hiding very well in the bushes next to us, but it was really cool to see its little ossicones and its little face, its beady little eyes. So gestation period for the giraffe. Sorry folks, it looks like we just had a little bit of a difficulty with our feed there, but we are back. We're just chatting about giraffe, so it looks like we've got before there was only male giraffe at this watering hole, about 10 male giraffe. Now it looks like we've only got one male giraffe. We've got 3-4 females, and yeah, this little tyke, this little youngster that has also come down, but he seems very nervous, very skeptical to drink from this watering hole. Maybe it's not quite A-grade water for him. Maybe he's not quite happy with drinking from this watering hole that so many other giraffe have been drinking from. This male giraffe is very brave, coming down to this watering hole to drink inside the water, so giraffe have to be very careful they don't get stuck in the mud. Come on, little guy, come have some drinks. Come have a bit of a drink. So giraffe have very long gestation periods. They are pregnant for about 15 to 16 months, which is a long time. Imagine being pregnant for so long. Goodness. It's a very long time to be pregnant, I must say. Come on, little guy. These giraffe are the tallest land mammals. The males can reach about 18 feet, which is about 5.5 meters. The big female is about 13 to 14 feet, which is about 4 to 4.3 meters. So this little guy still has quite a way to grow before he's a fully grown. I think it's a young, could be a young bull. Let's have a look. Is it a young boy? It could be a female. So when they're young, their ossicones, that looks like a young female. So it can be difficult to sex them when they're still young, but you can always look between the legs as well to see their sexual organs. That's always another good way to identify these young giraffe when they're still young. So the giraffe do live in loose social groups, and when they are in one area, they're known as a tower. And if they're moving, they're known as a journey of giraffe. So they don't form very strong social bonds, unlike elephants and our little warthog friends. They can be seen feeding together, but then they do move off into different areas. Males often engage in the behavior which is known as necking. This is a fighting display in order to attract the females. Oh, this little giraffe is just adorable. It's a little female. He seems very shy. So giraffe do play a very vital role in the ecosystem. They do help control the growth of trees and shrubs, and that in the way of preventing them from becoming too overgrown. So they browse, which helps open up areas and vegetation in order for other animals to be able to feed. So incredible how these giraffe have evolved to becoming so tall to fulfill a niche and feed on different parts of a plant that would be inaccessible to other animals. And this allows the lower level of foliage to be available for smaller herbivores to feed on. Yeah, great to watch these giraffe. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 6. We had like 10, 11 giraffe here earlier. It was really great to see so many giraffe here at this watering hole. I wonder if our warthogs are going to come back, or if they have done with their little mud wallowing session. They did have a really good mud wallow though. It was really entertaining. Really entertaining to watch those warthogs mud wallow. Jessica, yes, this does look like an album cover. Picture perfect. So you can see it, these giraffe are currently ruminating. So giraffe do chew their cud. They are ruminants, just like cows and other antelope. They do have this digestive system that does process quite quickly. So they eat very quickly, and they use their long tongues, as we mentioned earlier, to strip the leaves off trees. And then after swallowing, they store their food. It first goes into the rumen, which is the largest of the 4 stomachs. They have a chambered stomach system, after which they regurgitate and chew this cud. So it's a way of quickly feeding and moving through an area, but at a later stage they can kind of rest up. After some of their initial digestion has taken place, they regurgitate their food, which is then known as cud, back up into their mouths, and then they can chew it more thoroughly in order to absorb as much nutrients and moisture from their food as possible. After they've finished this chewing of the cud, they swallow their food again, and it passes through their remaining stomachs and chambers to complete the full digestive chain. So I've seen this happening at Tuma before with the kudu, a female kudu standing on a termite mound, and she was regurgitating her marula seeds in order to get as much of that delicious juicy marula pulp off of the fruit as possible. So Earth lover, I do love these fluffy occasions with so many giraffe. We've been very blessed today. Have had a lot of giraffe coming down to Nguma here in Kenya. And yeah, this little one, maybe this little baby giraffe has been very nervous, very skeptical to drink. Maybe there was too many other giraffe at the watering hole. She was just waiting for some of the giraffe to leave before she had the watering hole all to herself to have a good old drink. So we got a question from Petula Elzina that says that her son, whose name is Sai, of 4 years, is asking why are there only giraffe in Africa? So Sai, there's not only giraffe in Africa. We have a lot of different species of giraffe. So just in this national park, we have about close to 300 different species of animals that occur here. Giraffe are very common, yes, and one of Africa's most favorite animals, giraffe and zebra. We do also have the big 5. So we have lions, leopard, rhino, elephant, and buffalo. Those are the big 5, another very popular animal here in Africa. And at some of our other locations that we've been visiting today, we also have springbok, impala. Over in Tembe, we have a nyala. There were some warthogs just now. So there are many different types of animals here in Africa, Sai. Not just giraffe, but yes, giraffe are a very popular animal here in Africa. Just having a look at these male giraffe. We were speaking about earlier how some giraffe, they get arthritis in their joints, but these males, they look pretty young still. Their joints don't look too swollen or inflamed. Oh, giraffe is actually another species that sometimes can have issues with their hooves. So earlier we were talking about cloven hoofed antelope that can have difficulties with their hooves and walking. So yeah, giraffe are a species that they can have a lot of pressure on those feet of theirs, which can cause quite some irritation. And yeah, you don't want to get a nasty stump or stick or splinter stuck in your hoof. It can cause a bit of irritation for these giraffe. But luckily, animals in the wild, unlike you and me, us humans that need to go to the doctor for every little scratch and injury, giraffe and animals in the wild, they're very resilient and they heal themselves so well. Here's our little young giraffe female. She's so curious, very cautious little female giraffe. Today really has been a giraffe-filled day here in Oldonyo. Can't believe how many giraffe we have been seeing. I would love some jackal to pop up. You know, I've seen jackal on quite a few occasions here. Oop, what do we have? Do we have a little squirrel? Hello, little guy. It's a little ground squirrel. He also seems very nervous, very skeptical, but I think I would also be nervous if I was a tiny little squirrel and I was surrounded by giant giraffe. So yeah, there is some jackal that do come around to this watering hole, so I'd love to see a jackal today, just like the jackal they saw over in Amakala this morning. That would be great to see a jackal. There are some secretary birds that also frequent this pan, and I think they nest in the area, so it's always delightful to see the secretary birds. Would be pretty cool. Giraffe seem to be gazing off into the distance, looking at something. Maybe if we're lucky, some lions will come here. I know there's a lion in the area that has some little cubs. So Erica, thanks for your question, Erica. So Erica's asking, would giraffe attack smaller predators like wild cats, caracal and jackal? So not necessarily, Erica. Giraffes tend to keep to themselves quite a lot. I like to think that with most creatures in the bush, and this can pertain to humans as well. I know when a lot of people go out into the bush, they think, oh, is this thing going to attack me? Is this creature going to bite me? Is this lion going to charge me? Or, you know, a lot of people are scared when they're out in the bush. And in a lot of cases, I like to say, if you don't bother them, they won't bother you. It's the same as the giraffe, unless it's a female giraffe that's just given birth, and maybe the jackal are harassing her and trying to steal her little recently born calf away. Most of the time, giraffe will go on their day as they please. They're not necessarily too worried about smaller predators or smaller carnivores, but jackal and hyena again can be a bit of a nuisance when it comes to a giraffe giving birth. She might be very susceptible to her calf being taken away. So in those cases, giraffe would definitely chase away any predators that are around. And if you're a predator, you don't want to kick from a giraffe. See, those very powerful legs of theirs can deliver quite a nasty kick. Can easily either kill a lion or very easily break their leg without issue. But most creatures out there in the world, you'd be surprised, are a lot more afraid of us humans than we are of them. So as long as you don't bother creatures out there, most of the time they won't bother you. Unless you're sleeping under a tree and there's a hyena walking past in the middle of the night, that's not such a good life choice. Or lions can also be at night, it's apex predators, and that's when they're the most in tuned with their senses and perfect time for them to hunt. So as long as it's not at night. Oop, our warthogs have come back for another mud bath. Hello. This warthog looks like he's got a very itchy bottom. So it looks like a different female warthog that's just come back. She's got very rounded tusks, a very rounded set of little tusks. So it's a different pair of warthogs that's come through, probably a female and a little sub-adult, maybe from last year. It's quite a big one. So a little sub-adult baby she's got with her. They want to come through and have a bit of a bath, have a bit of a mud wallow as well. Actually quite interesting about giraffes. So giraffe have the largest eye of all land mammals and the longest tail. Oh, and longest neck as well, of course. So one of the largest animals of all land mammals. Incredible how long their necks are. Very big, beautiful eyes and a very long tail. Oh, check out this girl. She's very pretty. She's got whiskers too. She's got very impressive whiskers. And the sub-adult behind her looks like it's got dreadlocks, the way the wind is blowing its mane forward. That looks like it's got some dreadlocks there. She's a very interesting looking female warthog, isn't she? Nola, yes, I agree with you there. These warthogs do have some of the most unusual hairstyles you can ask for. In KwaZulu-Natal in Zululand, I spent some time walking on a reserve there. There was a lot of this deep red oxide soil. So the warthogs in that area, constantly from being in and out of their burrows, they look like they just came out of a set of Jersey Shore or Geordie Shore. And they had that typical California sun-tanned glow or spray-tanned glow red soil on their sand, like sandy soil color on their skin, and then their manes or the little fluff behind their neck was always almost like peroxided white, so they looked like they just stepped out of the beaches of California with a fake spray tan and that bleach white peroxided hair. Hey guys, enjoy your mud bath. So Des is asking if most herbivore mammals wallow. So no, not all herbivore mammals wallow. So most of the furred antelope, so like zebra, impala, they will prefer to dust a bath. But mostly zebra and impala don't really dust bath too much. But zebra like to dust bath in most cases. The animals that do like to mud wallow are generally your mammals that don't have much fur. So your warthogs, your rhino, buffalo, and of course elephants. Digging up that soil to get some nice muddy, soft soil on their skin. Isn't this entertaining? Look at that little baby's tail going. So tails in a lot of animals can tell many tales about a creature. So just like in cats, you can tell when a lion, just like your house cat back at home, you can tell if your cat is in a good mood, bad mood, mischievous mood, wants to stalk you. Or, same as warthogs. You can tell by the movement of their tails. It's a very good form of communication. So that our giraffe are still around. Giraffe have very impressive long tails, which is great for swishing flies off of their bodies, especially this time of year. The green season is known for being a breeding ground for flies. It's where a lot of pupa, larvae, and insects hatch. Lots of insects around. It can be quite a pest. So you hope that you're not a zebra with a stumpy tail, so that you can at least be able to chase all those flies away. Lots of butterflies and insects too, watering holes. Even if there's no mammals or birds around, it's amazing how much you can see just by aquatic life. So if you're lucky to see some frogs at the water's edge, some little butterflies, dragonflies flying around, can be very entertaining, great for photographers to get their eye in. I'd love to know what these giraffes are saying to each other right now. The three bulls that are they gaze off to one side and look back at each other and then gaze off to another side. So another great form of communication in giraffe are those white behind their ears there can be seen for many hundreds of meters or even up to a kilometer. You can see that white behind their ears. So if giraffe are in an open flat area, they can hopefully see other giraffe within an area. That white kind of reflects and is very easy to be seen by other giraffes that are in the area. Conservation status of these giraffe in lots of parts of Africa is considered to be vulnerable, and the reason for this is due to habitat loss, as well as poaching and human-wildlife conflict. So giraffe, just like elephants, they need a lot of space to move and to feed, and there's becoming less and less areas where they're able to do this. So populations of giraffe have decreased over the last 10 years by about 40%. So it's over a third of this last decade. So in some areas, giraffe have actually become silently extinct from these areas. So the only areas they will eventually occur in, or are occurring in, is private reserves where they are protected and where there is enough space for them. But there is a lot of conservation effort being put into the preservation of the species, which includes habitat protection, anti-poaching laws to protect giraffe and their movement between areas, as well as wildlife corridors being installed and set up. And this is a very essential part of giraffe conservation and protecting giraffe in Africa. So yeah, very big hat off to all the organizations that are working tirelessly in order to protect these incredible creatures. Alright, well, our giraffe don't look like they're up to much, so why don't we head across to Founders Lodge and see what's happening there in the Eastern Cape. Goodness gracious me, have a look what we have here. So we've got some zebra. It looks like a windy day here in Founders Lodge. And if you didn't know that this was a rhino, if you didn't see the ears twitching, it'd be quite difficult to identify that there's actually a rhino lying just to the side of this tree here. It's acacia. He's also blending in very well to the sand, just as I was mentioning earlier about the warthogs in some regions where there's very red oxided soil, how they go completely red and tanned in color. So this rhino is probably completely changed color from wallowing in this watering hole. Nice deep red color which blends into the sand. Lovely to watch these zebra as well. The rhinos seem to love this tree here in Founders Lodge. There's always rhinos around this tree. Walked up to something. This could be a solitary male by himself. And we were looking at this watering hole earlier, seeing all the depressions and divots in the mud, which looked like that was the mud wallow or little spa area for these rhinos to come and have a nice afternoon mud wallow. Had a lot of mud wallowing going on today. We had some elephants over in Elephant Pan having a nice elephant pool party. Had some warthogs over in El Doño also wallowing away their day. And now we have this rhino. Doesn't look like it's still full of mud, so it probably had a mud wallow a few hours ago. But yeah, it looks like there's some zebra bonding going on behind this rhino as well. So social interaction and social bonding in many species is so important within a family group or a harem. I hope this rhino will get up and maybe come for a wallow, but I think he's probably already wallowed a few hours ago, and now he's just resting up on a tree. So these white rhinos do feed primarily on grass, and they only feed for about 12 to 18 hours a day, which the rest of the day, as we're witnessing right now, they'll spend resting, sleeping up against a tree, unlike their cousins, the black rhino, which are more solitary and have a varied diet and spend more of their day moving. So white rhinos can be a little bit lazier than black rhinos, I feel, and they do spend most of their day resting and sleeping. And these rhinos, I mean, even on a hot day, I guess no one wants to be out and about too long during the heat of the day, so these white rhinos mostly obviously diurnal, but they do spend most of their day partially feeding in the early mornings and late afternoons, resting up during the day and at night. So they don't like to move around too much at night, these white rhinos, because they don't have a great eyesight. So their eyesight is actually quite poor, especially at night. Crazy. You would not even think there was a rhino lying there. You just see a twitch of an ear here and there, so you can see he's still awake. He's obviously not sleeping too deeply. Has to keep an ear out for any noise around, any disturbance. We've got a question from Theo. So Theo's asking, will rhinos become possessive over mud wallows? So I feel like black rhino can be a little bit more aggressive, but yes, white rhinos, in particular white rhinos, can be somewhat possessive over mud wallows. So this behavior is linked to the purposes that they have to wallow, as we've mentioned, very similar to with the warthog. So hello, got a little bit of movement there. So just like with warthogs, rhinos will wallow in order to cool themselves down in a hot day, remove parasites. It does form a bit of a territorial behavior. So while rhinos are not typically territorial in the way some animals are, they can be very protective over their resources, just like mud wallows or watering holes. Whoop. Something's disturbed this guy. He doesn't have too much of a long horn. Oh. He looks like he's having a very good stretch. I'm trying to see if this is a male or a female. It's either a young male or could be a young female as well. Normally you'll find them in groups. Males can be solitary as well. Oh, look at that lip. So you see that square lip of the white rhino, especially modified and adapted for feeding on grass, whereas on the black rhino they have the pointed lip, and that helps them to act as a bit of a prehensile finger. Oh, there we go. We've got some more rhinos. Good afternoon. Are you coming to have a mud wallow for us? So Picasso is asking about ruminants, and when ruminating, are animals always standing up or lying down? Yes, so Picasso, mostly ruminants will ruminate while just standing, resting underneath a tree. It'll be a bit difficult. Oh, buffalo do actually ruminate while lying down as well. But yeah, so it'll either be lying down, standing up, not always, they won't always ruminate while moving or while walking. I hope that answers your question there. I'm really praying this rhino will come down into the mud, come and have a mud wallow for us. Yeah, always awesome watching animals mud wallow. So apparently female rhinos can also, white rhinos can also be quite protective over wallows, especially if they have a youngster with them, and that's in order to protect themselves with their little ones as well. So there is generally a hierarchical structure amongst rhinos. Doesn't always extend to becoming directly aggressive over a watering hole unless it's critical for the animal, if the water sources are drying up and there's limited watering holes, then rhinos can get a little bit aggressive. I'm sure we've all watched lots of videos of those black rhinos in Namibia trying to chase away elephants and lions. It's incredible how black rhinos, they're almost like little Jack Russells. They're very big bark for their bite, although I wouldn't want to get entangled in a fight with a black rhino, but yeah, black rhino taking on an elephant is a little bit brave, I would say. I mean, a black rhino weighing about 600 to 800 kilograms, an elephant weighing close to 7, 8, 9 tons. That's quite a unfair match, I must say. See those toes they have, this rhinos, the 3 little toes. I do love rhino tracks. It always looks like someone has gone and drawn in the little toes. they've got 3 toes, and then of course they've got this little so white rhino have more of a indentation at the back on their tracks, whereas black rhino, the back of their foot is pretty straight, pretty flat. Obviously white rhino's tracks are much bigger than black rhino. See the collar there, which is also for their protection and safety. See their tail curled, so often that can be a bit of a distress sign, or when rhinos are running away from something, they'll often curl their tails up, or if they're fighting with one another. Oh, we've got 3 rhinos. Have a look there. Could be a little family group that come by here quite often. I know there's 1 or 2 family groups and some solitary males that do frequent this pan quite often. It would be a good guess on the solitary female that's lying down under the tree there. What a lovely sighting here in the Eastern Cape this afternoon. Shame the zebras seem to be a little bit unsettled with all those flies. There are lots of flies bothering the zebra there. And some zebra politics takes place. So wildlife lady, it is an absolute privilege to be able to see these rhinos here today. Not many locations you can find rhino, or if they do occur there, most of the time we cannot show them, but we seem to have an agreement with Founders Lodge here that they're happy with the rhinos to be viewed, which is a very big privilege to see these rhinos. Spend a bit of time this afternoon with the sleeping rhinos. So Hannah, we were speaking about animal communication earlier. So Hannah's asking, do most animals raise their tails when they're stressed? So yes, tails can be a very good form of communication for a lot of animals. So like in cats, the very brisk flicking of the tail can be a form of aggression. Curled tail can be a sign when an animal's running away, or again fear. So tails and body language make up a very large portion of communication in animals, and that's how they communicate with each other a lot of the time. The lifespan of these white rhinos can be anything between 40 to about 50 years of age in the wild. Obviously most animals except for elephants can live longer in captivity, but it's quite a decent lifespan for these creatures. You can see his collar there's probably got a little solar panel which powers the battery, and that probably helps with the tracking. So it helps them to be able to track these individuals on reserves. So because of the safety and vulnerability of rhinos, most rhinos in private reserves do have collars in order to help track these individuals. I know in Mabula they even have collars that track the heart rate. They monitor the individual's heart rate and a lot of the vital signs of these rhinos, so that they know that if the rhino's heart is beating, not beating. It can be a very good anti-poaching method, or very good method to help see if the animal is stressed, if it's weak, if it's sick. So it's crazy how technology helps to protect and preserve wildlife. So Theo, as we mentioned earlier, sorry folks, I think we had a bit of a freezing in our feed there at Founders Lodge. So we are back in Old Donyo with our giraffe. It has been a giraffe-filled afternoon in Old Donyo. So Theo was asking about territories. So will white rhinos set up territories near water. So white rhinos are not as territorial as black rhinos and other antelope species, but they will set up territories that encompass very good grazing and feeding areas, and that's something they would take into consideration, as well as a watering hole or mud wallow. This definitely adds to the value of their territories, and hopefully means females will come through. Oh, we've got some guinea fowl. The helmeted guinea fowl coming down for their turn to have a bit of a drink at the watering hole. So with all these giraffe around, it's been difficult for any other species to come down for a drink. So the guinea fowl are very quickly sneaking in here to get their drink in, the afternoon little watering hole drink, before maybe the elephants arrive. These birds are so full of character and life. They are all over the place. Alrighty, why don't we go and check what's happening this afternoon at Tau Lodge over in Madikwe, South Africa. Whoa, folks, have a look at this. How cool. So we were just talking about ostriches yesterday. I saw ostriches on Friday here at Tower Lodge, and we were chatting about ostriches yesterday because they've been seeing they saw some ostriches at Amakhala, I think, over the weekend. So lovely to see some ostriches in Amakhala. So this looks like 3 male ostriches, the dark black with white, and 1 female. So unfortunately, like a lot of bird species, the males are more elaborate and attractive looking than the females. And this is so that the males can win over the affection of female ostrich. So they are the largest flightless birds in the world, and they did at one point, they were able to fly, but eventually over many years they have evolved to being more terrestrial birds, so they don't need to fly anymore. They have those very strong thighs, which enables them to be able to run for very fast speeds for very long distances. They are in the same family as emus, interesting enough, and they will be feeding on this edge of this dam on seeds, plants and leaves. So perfect feeding ground for them. The males, we were speaking about yesterday how the males get very red in their neck and the shins on their legs. This color indicates that they are sexually mature, and apparently it's very bedazzling to the females. Apparently the females will be attracted to the male ostriches with this color. Uh-oh. Sounds like we've got some thunder rolling into Johannesburg outside here. Whereas Madikwe looks pretty sunny, pretty lovely weather. So these female ostriches, or 1 ostrich egg apparently is equivalent to 24 chicken eggs. Yeah, I think there is a storm rolling into Johannesburg here. We've had a couple of days of nice sunny weather, great sunny weekend, but I think we might be in for some more weather coming into Johannesburg over the next 2 days, rolling down into KwaZulu-Natal as well. So get your rain coats and rain jackets ready. So you can see these ostriches are gula flapping. So they've got their beaks open, and it's a form of estivation, a form of cooling themselves down. So yeah, maybe it's a bit humid, could be building up for some rain also in Madikwe. Yeah, these ostriches, 1 female ostrich can lay anything between 12 to 18 eggs, and these ostrich will both incubate the nest and co-parent in raising the chicks. They're very protective over their little baby ostriches, and I find them very, very cute little birds, baby ostriches. They look very spiky and brown, so that when they are running away from predators or need to hide, they just flop themselves onto the ground and put their heads down, and they just look like a tiny little bush. And I've seen in different areas these ostrich do nest kind of, their nesting habits are a bit all over the place. I've seen nests in November, September, August. So I think between most regions it does vary from region to region, but they generally nest between August to November. They do make very good meat, this ostrich meat. I know in South Africa there's lots of places you can buy ostrich meat. It makes very good ostrich burgers. If you come to South Africa on safari, whoop, he's itching his neck. And often you'll find in ostrich neck these little lumps. So they do swallow stones from time to time, just like small birds, and that helps in their crop in order to digest their food. So it crushes together, the little rocks help to crush together, grinding away those seeds, helping them to digest their food. This is an unusual setting. How cool. You don't often see ostriches and zebra together here at Tau. I think this is only my third time seeing the ostriches. Seems like since the whoop. There's a lot of thunder outside, sorry folks. But yeah, it seems like they've just come through after the rains, now that there's lots of plants, lots of greenery. It's perfect time for these giraffe to come through to this pan and feed on all of those seeds. Otherwise in the dry season I don't think I've seen ostrich too often. So Dale is asking quite a cool question about predators, and if predators prefer big prey because there's more food, or do they prefer smaller, easier prey? So Dale, I think it would depend on what species it is. So obviously if you've got a big pride of lions or a big pack of wild dogs, they would prefer to make a bigger kill, which would fill their bellies for longer. But in times when they're very hungry, and maybe if they have an opportunity to make an opportunistic kill, they'll definitely go for that as well. So say for example, the wild dogs haven't made a kill in a couple of days, or lions haven't made a kill in a couple of days, they've got lots of mouths to feed, and a warthog happens to walk past, they're not going to pass up the opportunity for an easy meal. But especially like in the case of lions would much prefer to bring down bigger prey. So in Botswana and parts of the Caprivi strip, you get these lions in very big prides that do bring down young elephants. What? Did ostrich just yawn? It is Tuesday. I think he's had a long week already, this female ostrich. She's yawning. Never seen an ostrich yawn. That was quite unusual. So yeah, Dale, if they get an opportunity, there's these packed prides of lions, up to 20, 30, 40 lions all in a pride in Botswana that have learned how to hunt sub-adult elephants or young elephant cows and bring them down. And I mean, an elephant weighing 4 to 5 tons is more likely to feed a pride of lions for a longer period of time rather than a zebra weighing 250 kilograms, which will probably be finished in less than half an hour by a big pride. Speaking of elephants, there's a nice big elephant bull also coming to join us this afternoon. That's a lovely picture there. Got nice greenery, some ostrich, zebra, nice big elephant bull in the background, a bit of a rocky outcrop, and some mountains behind us. So Ben is asking about the lions and if they suffocate the elephant. So yeah, generally, Ben, same as giraffe, lions have also adapted and evolved to being able to hunting giraffe. And yeah, if there's a big pride, they are able to one corner or tire down their prey, and then getting that animal onto the ground is then the next big priority, is getting that animal onto the ground. Once they've got the animal onto the ground, a lot of the times the lions, they'll go for the Achilles tendons, for the legs, try their best to get that animal onto the ground. Once they get the animal onto the ground, then they'll try their best to suffocate their prey. But we did have some questions yesterday about can lions take down an 8 to 10 ton elephant bull, which I've never heard of, and it is very rare. Again, the elephants that these lions are adapting to take down are, anything between their sub-adults, young elephants, maybe sick cows. So they're a lot smaller than the big elephant bulls, and that's where the lions in big numbers can take advantage of this. This ostrich looks like it's got a feather stuck on its leg. Another big male ostrich. Such a weird creature. These ostriches are preyed on quite a lot by cheetah, leopard. They don't have a very big brain, ostrich, so they do make a very easy snack. So on most private reserves that have a high predator density, it is very easy for predators to kill these ostrich. But again, they've got quite a nasty kick, so need to be careful of that kick. It's been estimated that a kick from a ostrich, if they kick a human in your sternum, they can very easily break your chest and sternum. So very nasty kick, but very easy prey species for something like a cheetah or a leopard. And also, to add to your question there, Dale, if you have a young leopard by itself or a young cheetah by itself, Jared, can you hear me? Hello? Okay. Copied. Sorry, Sorry folks, we had some massive lightning. I'm in Little Falls here and there's just been some lightning on the mountains behind us and the power is out, but we are back. Doesn't look like there's going to be rain anytime here in Tau or in Madikwe, although it does look like it's a bit cloudy. Maybe it's building up for some rain sometime. I think we're going to get maybe what might be the last rains of the season. So our ostriches are still busy feeding away. We're chatting about predators and... Sorry, we're back at Eldonio here. We had some camera difficulties there in Tau. And we've got a massive elephant bull here. Check out this guy. I don't recognize him, but he's got a huge tusk on the right-hand side, missing a tusk on the left. This does happen to elephants from time to time. They can either be tuskless, which is more common in female elephants, but you do get big elephant bulls that can either only grow one tusk, or in some cases they can lose their tusks while fighting. This elephant doesn't look familiar to me, but if any of our viewers do know this elephant bull, please feel free to send through his name if he is a known elephant bull in the area. Doesn't look like 1 ton. We had 1 ton here, I think last week Friday we had a brief sighting of the big elephant tusker bull named 1 ton, but this guy is not looking familiar to me. Shame, he looks like he could definitely tell a tale or two. So apparently this big elephant bull came rushing in to frighten the guinea fowl away. Shame, those poor guinea fowl, they've been waiting for ages. So we've had elephant at this watering hole since we started the show, and the poor guinea fowl have probably been patiently waiting for their chance to come in for a drink, and then this elephant bull decided that he wasn't going to allow these guinea fowl to take up his drinking space. But yeah, quite interesting how this bull has missing his 1 tusk. If you have a look on his right hand tusk, you'll see some markings. It looks like there's some grooves in his tusk there. Could be more modified in a way to help him feeding. So if he's only got 1 tusk there, this big bull, he could use his 1 tusk that he does have a lot more in order to help him feed. Definitely a very impressive bull. I'd say he's probably weighing in at about maybe 7 to 8 tons. Massive elephant bull. It's got some... Oh, that's quite a cool photo there. Check out that. Giraffe and an elephant. Check out this guy. So he's got some quite significant, unusual markings, tear markings in his ears. Rachel, yes, this guy does have a huge tusk. Looks like it could have fallen out rather than broken off, but sometimes they break off quite high in the canal there. But again, the elephants do lose their tusks, especially bulls, while fighting. You can see quite nice and close up here. There's the groove in the bottom of his tusk that I was talking about. And also again, have a look at looks like someone's taken a bite or a chunk out of his ear. Say he's definitely in his prime, this elephant bull, probably around 50 years of age, 50, 55. He's lived a very long life. Nice big mature elephant bull. I'd love to hear the stories that this elephant could share. Sorry, we just have a storm that's still approaching here. Yeah, check out this guy. Wow. So he's also decided that it's a hot afternoon and that he's going to cool himself down with a nice mud wallow. Massive guy. Check out this guy. So yeah, please, if we have any viewers that are very familiar with elephants here in Eldonio, I'd love to know if this elephant bull has a name. Otherwise, I will search him after the show just to find out if, yeah, because that is very impressive tusk he's got. coating himself in some nice fresh mud. You can see the outlet is in between this elephant's foot here, so it's where this watering hole is being pumped with water to provide these animals with a safe source of water for them to come and have a drink. It's been very busy here this afternoon live at the waterhole over in Aldonio. Lots of giraffe activity, lots of warthogs wallowing. We were hoping we might catch another sighting of our cheetah. We got a cheetah sighting yesterday in Nguma, but we just had warthogs today. But still keep an eye out for those predators. Yeah, I'll be with you until Thursday this week, so I'm really hoping we can find as many predators this week as possible. Wildlife Lady, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been a lovely afternoon here live at the waterhole. Really enjoyed this afternoon. We've had some really cool sightings. It's lovely to experience the green season here live at the waterhole. It's my first season being on live at the waterhole while it's in greenery. So yeah, I'm very grateful for this big elephant bull for coming and saying goodbye to us to end off the show today. We'll have a quiet moment as we end off the show. Just a reminder, don't forget to tune in to the Sunset Safari to see maybe if the guys catch up with the Kachava. I just wish you a terrific Tuesday from me and the rest of the Wild Earth team. Wishing you a lovely Tuesday. Cheers, folks.